Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait. Thanks for watching us here on Northwest Access TV. Happy to have St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith guesting with us today. We're taping this show on Tuesday, July 25th. Summer moving on, Mr. Mayor. I guess kind of official midsummer terrain here, huh?
We got August coming on Tuesday.
Yeah, not far away.
I think 2 to 3 weeks out from there is preseason sports at the high school. That's always a sign of the end of summer.
And school's back in session, what, late August and stuff? They certainly don't wait till Labor Day these days,
I think August 30th, I think it is.
End of August.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, hard to believe. Hasn't been much of a summer.
Yeah, weather hasn't been great. But boy, Franklin County in general, certainly St. Albans, I guess, dodged a pretty good bullet, or pretty much largely with the flooding. But boy, pretty painful to see TV footage every day about places like, as you said, Johnson, Montpelier. Boy, what a hit.
Yeah, so in my day job,
Franklin County Industrial Development Corp. Yeah,
I have 11 other colleagues.
Right.
I think so there's one covering 3 counties, but out of the regions, I think 7 of the 12 are impacted.
Is that right? Over half?
It didn't seem like we had nothing major by any means.
Yeah.
Addison did not. Grand Isle. Springfield area had a little bit, but not much.
I guess Bennington, where my kid's doing 8 weeks of aerobic, I guess Bennington didn't sound like it was kind of the southwest corner, didn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
But a good hunk of the state, boy.
Wyndham got hit hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, we've been fortunate, right? I mean, I checked in with Montgomery. Montgomery had nothing. That's probably our first concern in terms of a county.
Yeah.
And then you could have flooding in.
I guess Fairfax got a bit of some hit from the Lamoille.
But for the most part, we found it was farmers who had crops along the river had some losses. But if it wasn't along the river, the corn crop was able to absorb the amount of rain we had, and so nothing.
Speaking of which, I had my first local corn 2 days ago from Hartman's, and I know Hudak's was at least close, and they may have it as we speak, but very, very good. Hard to beat Franklin County or Vermont sweet corn.
I didn't know it was out.
Yeah,
to pick some up. But yeah, no, we one of our issues was the quality. Georgia Industrial Development, of which I'm on the board. Yeah. We operate the water plant in the Georgia Industrial Park. Yeah. And the tricky thing for us was not that we got flooded, but the quality of water that was coming down. So we draw water from Lake Arrowhead, which is fed by Lamoille River. Sure. And that was pretty much muddy soup is the appearance it had. Yeah. So Jeff Bean, who's the operator, did a heck of a job continuing to supply water to Perigo so they could keep their doors open. Yeah. But that was probably one of our bigger impacts that just the average person wouldn't know about. A lot of work went into it, still working. We're working on it yesterday. But in other parts, who knows what's going to happen. I've heard rumors that Sterling Market in Johnson will not reopen, and I heard they might. But
and of course, Johnson lost its wastewater facility, gone, right? That's I think.
Yeah, I think they're talking about relocating the whole thing.
Okay. And
so there's
Market.
So there's
what a hit. And
it wasn't from a hurricane, right? It was just rain that had
some intense rainstorms.
Yeah. So it's
well, I guess the city, when I think of St. Albans City, have the wastewater plants, being of wastewater plants with overflow. I mean,
we were in overflow stage, which means we still treat to a certain extent. It doesn't get a second shot of chlorine, but it is treated before being released.
And Lake Champlain hitting, according to one of the TV weather folks yesterday, a record high for the date yesterday. Yesterday's date in about 98.7.
Really? Is that what it was?
Up almost 3 feet. Yeah. And it won't get up to flood stage. I would guess it would peak unless rains get crazy again. Probably no more than 99, so about a foot below flood stage. But for late July, that's unbelievable. Like I said, record high.
To your point, we went from 96 to 98.7.
Yeah, almost up 3 feet in a
matter
week
of 2
or 2
weeks. Yeah,
yeah, that's unreal. I mean, when you think about how big the lake is, and for the level to rise that much over such a huge area. It's unreal.
And everyone that I know that have a place on the camp, they were dealing with flooded docks that were being flipped and lost parts and pulling them in. So that's been the focus for a lot of the camp owners along the lake, is addressing their docks significantly.
Yeah.
You talk about how unbelievable it is to have that lake rise to that level. The other one that I talk about is when you drive down 89 and you run parallel to the Winooski River, right?
Yeah.
And before you get into like Waterbury.
Yeah. Which I did, in fact, on the, I had to do Martha's Vineyard, my first summer visit. In a way, I had to wait till the interstate reopened that Tuesday morning.
Sorry.
And driving along the interstate between Richmond, Bolton into Montpelier, and incredible flooding.
But normally, it's there's rock, there's riverbed. So you're looking at rocks more than water.
Yeah.
And to have that fill to that level and then roll over the banks into Waterbury and speaking of Waterbury, we as a city sent down our Vector.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I did see a messenger story on that.
Yeah,
it sounds like that was a big help for those guys.
Yeah, we weren't sure. We talked about it, Marty Manhan and Dom, and I'm not sure what we could do, but Marty made the decision to send down the Vector and 2 guys, and we were working on a project yesterday in the Georgia Industrial Park, and the guys were there with the Vector.
Yeah.
And they said they were able to help clean out about 30 basements.
Really? Wow.
And the machine just sucks everything up. I mean, it saved hours and hours for some folks to either pump it out and then clean it.
Is there a Waterbury connection? Was there a former St. Albans city official who's got a big job in Waterbury?
So our finance officer, when we were going to the TIF and all that, was Tom Lights.
Okay.
And Tom left us probably a little more than a year ago, and he received the town manager job in Waterbury.
So town manager.
Yeah, and left on good terms and all that, and so we thought we could help Tom out. So.
That sounds like a huge help. I'm sure they'll remember that.
Yeah, no, people of Waterbury were more than appreciative.
Wow.
Like I said, the guys pumped out about 30 basements.
Wow.
The issue they came across was if, depending what the people heated with, right? If there was, if water got in their oil tanks and there's oil in the water, we couldn't pump that out. We had to go with propane or whatever the case. We could assist there, but not if there was oil in the water. We just couldn't dispose of that. So, but yeah, no, it was a good gesture for the city to go and assist. It's we're sorry we couldn't have done more, but they were very appreciative of what we did do.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a real nice gesture.
Yep.
So with the overflow, how long was that situation going on for? Do you know, here with a wastewater plant with just the volume you were getting?
I do not know. It was a couple days.
Yeah.
Partly due to the rain just hadn't let up.
Yeah.
I don't even know what do you know what our precipitation is?
It was funny. And in the wake of the big flooding, I checked Burlington, and those stats are in the free press every day, which for some reason I still pay about $1 a day for. Don't ask me why. But Burlington, amazingly, right after the two days of heaviest rain, Burlington was right where it should have been. The monthly total was under 4 inches, and for the year, it was about 20 inches of precip, exactly where it should be for the year. So at that point, it was under 4, so I can only assume Burlington maybe got like a couple inches or so. And I don't have a gauge here, but I'm guessing maybe a couple, 3 inches, but nothing crazy. Of course, you had places like Plymouth comes to mind, 9 inches, a bunch of places like 7 inches, and that was just after the earlier, then it kept raining. So,
but even
in Montpelier, I think, already record rain for July, or the Knapp Airport, which for the record isn't in Montpelier, it's in Berlin, I think.
Right.
I assume it's not in downtown Montpelier, but they were over 10 inches as of a couple days ago, record July precip.
I think there's certain storms that hit Franklin and Sheldon that brought 3 or 4 inches, but we didn't see it. I think
and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, summer storms tend to be, of course, very localized.
I think a number of storms have skirted St. Albans. We haven't seen it that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, and maybe that average precipitation for the year is because the winter was so light. We didn't have much.
Yeah.
Didn't have much snow.
Not a ton of snow.
So, but you would have thought it would be a little higher than that. But it's crazy weather for sure, and so
a good summer, a lot of stuff going on. I mean, boy, if you want to catch live music, you can catch it. Seems like about every other day around here.
Yeah,
How was the church? A friend wanted me to ask you, how was I didn't happen to catch it, the inaugural Church Street Festival?
I tell you the truth, I don't have an answer for that, Richard. Let me cover a couple things. Rushmore was at the park on Wednesday night, and that's a band with Mike Trombley and Bobby Chevalier.
Oh, really? Some local folks?
Some local folks that have a real good following. Did a great job. They played a couple. I wasn't in the whole time, but when I was there, they played a couple Supertramp songs.
Oh, really? I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah, they nailed it pretty well. And then you had the car show last Saturday. Had a perfect day for it. I think I saw 112 cars.
Kingman Street Classic or whatever.
112 cars in and around the park.
I should note, just while you mentioned that, for folks who are into car shows, again, we're taping this show on Tuesday, July 25th, but Swanton has a great car show coming up this Saturday, which would be, July 29, 30? I guess, anyway, but this last Saturday in July, followed by the Jig in the Valley, great event in East Fairfield this coming Sunday.
Yeah. If people are looking for things right now, you got the Farmers Market Thursday night down the bay with music. If people are looking for things to do, there's not a shortage. I mean, you can find stuff to do, no doubt. There's some great local hiking trails that aren't too far, that aren't too difficult.
For sure.
Get people outside. But the inaugural Church Street Festival, I played in a golf tournament up in Farnham, Quebec.
Oh, really? I've never played golf north of the border.
Farnham, they're a very nice course. Yeah. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but very nice. But long story on this one was Scott Jones, who lived in Bedford, came down and went to school and played hockey at BFA for 2 years. So a lot of friends still on both sides of the border. And when he was growing up, his father organized a hockey exchange program where they sent kids from Bedford, of which some St. Albans kids joined them periodically, and sent them to PEI to play in a tournament. And then PEI sent a team to Bedford. And they've been doing that for, I think this is the 55th year.
Yeah, really?
And according to Guinness, it's the longest cultural sporting event, I believe, or exchange
really?
For the record,
And that's really cool.
So they do a golf tournament, and a bunch, I think 6 or 8 of us went up and played golf to support it. And so it's a long story short, as I said, so I missed the Church Street event, and I have not got a report on it as to how it turned out. I guess we didn't get a lot of rain after lunchtime in Bedford, but I think it rained here quite a bit.
There was definitely some rain at least.
But the museum and their team took the lead on that, and all the events that we have. Some people may think they're city-driven, but they're not. They're city-supported for sure. But it's usually volunteers that make these events happen. The car show is Kathy Manahan and her team and family put a lot of time and effort into that.
Yeah, you had the Kingman Street Fest earlier, the Queen Fest.
With Shannon Smith and her team from Nellie's. They organize that. Once again, the city supports, but we definitely don't take the lead. Maple Festival's the same. There's Festival of Trees, Running of the Bells. They're all volunteer-oriented.
Yeah.
But yes, continued events, great events. And I think that's one of the draws to the city. A lot of people come for activities, and and the downtown seems to be very busy.
Yeah,
So,
boy, I've got one of my old, kind of my main Free Press editor in my years writing for the Free Press, sadly no longer with us, Rob Ely, but he would have been very impressed when you called that the inaugural Church Street Festival. I can literally remember him being my main editor saying, Richard, you never say first annual, say inaugural, so he'd be very impressed with you.
yeah.
And I run across first annual all the time, but I think of my old friend Rob Ely. Anyway, Tim, the new fiscal year for the city, just a couple weeks into it. How did St. Albans City end FY fiscal year 2023 with financially?
Yeah, the discussion that we had at last meeting was water and sewer. So when we were doing construction of water and sewer, or the wastewater plant, I should say, we deferred a lot of waste into a holding tank, and because there was no place for it to go. But and normally in a regular maintenance cycle, those tanks would be cleaned out on a yearly basis, and they weren't. So we were playing catch up to get it back down to ground level, and that the cost of that was excessive. I think about $500,000.
Really?
If we had done it each year, it would have been like it was 150,000, I think, or 200,000. So. So that was deferred cost for 2 or 3 years, and now we're sort of facing that this year. But if you look over that time frame, there was a little bit of a wash in the sense that we didn't pay the 150 because we didn't maintain those tanks, and now there was 3 years worth, so it was about the same amount of money, but it just hit one fiscal year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that like it was a surprise. We knew it was coming, so that was probably
that'll kick up water sewer bills, I assume, or
I think we had an increase the month before anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah, I think I might have noticed that.
I'm not sure what that amount, 6% maybe. I don't remember the total amount, but so yeah, it was going to kick up anyway. We had sat on not doing an annual increase for a couple of years, so it all kicked in. And outside of that, we're going to have a presentation in August, I think, about what was the pro forma for the pool, because it was an unknown, right? When you brand new building, brand new pool. We don't know what electrical costs are. We don't know the gas to heat the pool. We don't know a lot of things.
You had a pretty good handle, I assume, on staffing costs, but other on.
Well, I would say not even that, because we didn't know
how many people would be coming.
What the peak times were, what courses we were going to offer, all that. What was the breakdown between resident and non-resident.
Yeah.
So I think. I've asked the city manager for that presentation. What were we basing our bond vote on, and how did we come in? And all indications are that we did better than expected on keeping costs down and raising more money. So I think I asked for that because people always are wondering how did it compare, and I think we did a nice job with it. Kelly Vians did a great job of doing all the pro forma and income and disbursements, and so I think it'll prove to. And then speaking of pool, if people want to enjoy watching swimming, we have this Saturday is the league meet that we're hosting up at the pool all weekend. I think Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. I think Sunday. So all the teams in the league, how many, 8 or 10, will be coming to St. Albans, And you look at what the economic impact is, and I don't know what the number is, but people are going to buy food, they're going to buy gas, they might go out to eat.
They stay for the night in some cases.
Some may stay for the night, for sure.
Well, it sounds like the pool. Sounds like you're very happy. Sounds like the pool seemingly has gone pretty well.
Yeah,
huh?
I think so. I think I don't. If we get a complaint, it is from town residents as to why they pay more than city residents. And
is that still the case? I thought the town. I just talked to the town folks. I thought they had kicked in some more. I thought they said they were paying the same as city now, or maybe with the town subsidizing. Whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that is. I need to double check that if that's the case.
I'm not sure.
And my comment is, look, you had the opportunity to be a partner in this, and you chose not to. So,
of course, Georgia kicked in some money. I guess
Georgia did, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
no, it sounds like the pool's gone
both of
pretty
those
well.
are always ongoing conversations.
Right.
It's never. I'd be surprised if we were at a status quo point. From the last 3 years, and 3 years moving forward is always a discussion.
Yeah. And again, the pool, for the record, funded by LOT, local option tax money, and not property tax money, correct?
Yep, local option tax is up a little bit.
Yeah. What does the city get? What do you get annually from that, roughly?
I think we estimated we were going to get $650, $680.
Yeah.
And if I'm not...
That's the total take? The state, of course, takes, what, 30% of that?
Right.
Boy, something tells me the state might be looking to grab a bigger share of that down the road, huh?
Can we touch on that in a minute? Yeah, so I think we were up around 750 is a number that I had seen. But you look at what has happened, right, with flooding.
Yeah.
You look at the stand that the governor took relative to raising taxes and saving money, and now we're scrambling, trying to help who knows how many communities to.
Yeah. I guess he did throw out. I guess the state governor dug up like 20 million.
20
Seems
million,
like I saw the 20 million figure, but
I think we on the RDCs had a phone conversation, and very back of the envelope number. They just went around and said, "How many businesses do you think has been affected?"
Yeah.
And I think. Which seemed a little low to me, but the 7 counties that were affected, 400 businesses.
Really? Wow.
And who knows what the cost of cleanup is, and waste and replacement.
And you got to think, obviously, I mean, not all those 400 companies or so are coming back.
No.
It's obviously going to knock out. Boy, I saw, I guess, Montpelier, some of the small business folks in Montpelier had a press conference last week, and, geez, good luck. I guess almost none of those folks had flood insurance. But
and I think even if you do, it doesn't.
Even if you do, it sounds like you pay big bucks for that in the first place.
Yeah, so I think 400 into 20 million. I mean,
Wow.
that doesn't go too far, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's a tough situation.
But you got to give the governor credit. I mean, he was trying to set up some rainy day stuff, and he was pessimistic about where the economy's going, and I think that's proven to come true with income taxes are down a little bit, but we needed to spend what we spent.
Yeah, folks, and I guess the payroll tax hooked into the child care, I think, funding, but now we get payroll tax kicking in for employees and employers.
You've got universal meals, which is increasing property taxes.
Yeah.
And here's something that bugs me. A lot of people may not be aware of this, but we get a letter in the mail that, because I think it's statewide, because everyone's on universal meals, and our family doesn't need it, but we received an EBT card.
Oh, is that right?
In the mail for $120.
Really, you actually got the card, not whether you wanted one or needed one.
No, it didn't matter if you wanted one. You got it.
Interesting.
And we'll buy food, but I just donate to Martha's. But
interesting.
But I mean, that's
funny you mentioned that. I'm flashing back in my case. Geez, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years. I had my paraeducator job at SATEC and was hooked into the teacher's contract for health benefits, which I much appreciated, but eventually got off that. But maybe I had a year or two leave. But I remember when I had to apply for something, the person in St. Albans, the person questioning me, the state person, I guess, said, "You sure you don't need some subsidy?" And I said, thanks for asking, but no, I'm just doing this myself or whatever. But I mean, this person kept going back to that a bunch of times, when almost disappointed that I wasn't looking for some help there.
We hear stories like that all the time, that, you know, if you don't go to work, if you don't make this much money, you can maintain your benefits. But I guess maybe it was Cobra year, whatever it was. But so I was surprised that we got an EBT card for $120, and that's for everyone in all the school systems. Wow, interesting. So, boy, we could talk politics. Not much time here. But I'll be real interested to see if the governor's got more life. I polled the other day, survey, still the most popular governor in America, I guess. I guess he might be thinking, boy, that and a quarter will get me a cup of coffee maybe somewhere. But boy, just with the demo supermajority, just with the legislature doing way more than he wanted, I'll be real interested to see if he's, sounds like he could be governor for probably as long as he wanted, but be interested to see if he's got some more time. I've got to think he's getting pretty frustrated these days. I agree with you. I don't, no support in terms of his vetoes, or little support. I should not enough support. But you know, he's engaged on the flooding. He's out and about. I mean, you think of everything he's been through between the pandemic. He wasn't around for Irene, but now you got this flooding. You've had a number of other issues. A lot of stuff. Tim, the big apartment project proposed for down on Lake Street, is that moving? Moving forward. They got some brownfield dollars to do the inspection, and I think cleanup included as well. That one's moving forward. We're talking other ones, nothing concrete by any means, but we could have within the city potentially 200 units within the next 3 years. Really? New construction. Wow. That's another issue, the whole housing legislation that came down on the state. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, and we're trying to address it on a sort of a microcosm level just with the city. But every house in the city could become a duplex. With little or no say on the part of Development Review Board. You weren't real thrilled about that? No. I think, and then some larger homes could become quads, and with not a lot of respect to, character of neighborhood, which you're not supposed to say, but it's just, I mean, if we're looking to attract families, I think families are going to want a house with some green space and the ability to have a neighborhood where their kids feel safe in. I mean, I think it was a knee-jerk reaction. I've said it before. It's just, and my issue is we don't get any credit for all those 200 that we're making. Sounds like St. Albans City's done. Yeah, it seems like more than its share so far. I think over the years we've always done more than our share. You look at some of the complex, Willard Mill, which used to be Leader Evaporator, the Maiden Lane now. There's a number of them out there that. So the railroad building, Messenger had a story on that, which you just sit down to a minute. We could take another half hour here. Railroad building, any early interest in that you've heard about? No, I think that's going to be a little difficult negotiation. I think there's, from my understanding, the building sits on land that's owned by CN. So CN wants their chunk of the sale proceeds for the land. Genesee and Wyoming wants their chunk for the building. And I think they both, I heard $2 million originally, so it was $1 million for the building, $1 million for the land. I think some people have looked at it, but I think the negotiation will be a little difficult with the buyer and then the other two parties.
Yeah, literally kind of running out of time. City PD is starting to staff up. We'll be covering the town in less than 1 year now.
Less than 1 year, yeah.
Yeah. And sounds like some crime issues cropping up in the city, but I guess that's maybe
Yeah, no, I
nothing
think
too new.
we think it's attributed to the homeless. You know, you had some breaking and entering, you had some half-hearted robbery attempts that were
Yeah.
scared off. So I think we were hoping to get a report on that in August as well.
Okay, but again, a lot of good stuff still coming up for the rest of the summer in St. Albans. Thanks to
sure.
St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith. Thanks to producer Alan Cunningham. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. Thanks for watching us here on Northwest Access TV. See ya.